Next, what we are going to look at is one of its cards, a card of the router 1 classification of the card. Mainly, we talked about the main control board before, then exchange board monitor panel. Then it's the service board, so we can take a look at the different models they each have. Different models, relatively simple. So these are all some abbreviations in English as well as X16 and X8. They have different switch ports, different models. Let's take a closer look at this. This diagram on the X16, he controls the use of the screen with the main control unit MPUU. So the control board includes the CPU module, then a storage module, then connect external interface module, clock module, communication module, monitoring module, and power modules execute routing protocols, running information protocol, provide clock monitoring, management, and business exchange. These are all the things that this MPDU needs to accomplish. The key highlights of the MPDU control board lie in: the key highlight is USB interface. He has two. Supports USB version download and USB power supply supports. Large capacity CF card. Supports maximum capacity at the first level. He is equipped with RJ45 and SMB interfaces, providing level 3 clock and 1588 clock processing. He also supports 2 terabits, this is 2 MHz, then 2 terabits per second. Output of 1 BPS signal. It is also said that one of his weaknesses is relatively weak gravity. A high performance multi-core CPU. His CPU processing power is still quite strong. The bandwidth of the control bus between the main control and service boards can reach 1G. Provide one interface with two 1G or 2.5G Ethernet ESFP ports. Meet the architectural design for subsequent multi-frame connections. Another thing is this 40EX8, a network element. The control plane he uses is the routing and switching unit, SGRU. In addition to completing all the functions of the ACE-RU unit, he actually combined a unit of the exchange network A switch for data. The main components of the control board include the CPU module, storage module. The module for this external interface, we have discussed this before, so I won't say much about it, no more talk. This is mainly to introduce everyone. What does this MPU look like compared to S, ARCO, U? And what are the main modules that he mainly includes in the construction such a sector? Then let's take a look at the main control board of X3, then X3. He uses MPU as the main control and exchange unit, responsible for centralized control and management of the system. And data exchange, it adopts a 1+1 redundant backup design for the MPU. It is mainly composed of the system's main control unit, exchange unit system, clock unit, exchange synchronous clock unit, composition of system maintenance unit, execute routing protocols, implementing new protocols, switch modules that provide clock monitoring and management services. So let's take a look at the main control board of this. Regarding the main control board, then the one just now, or X16 with X8, one of his modules, main control module. There aren't as many things on top of it. Not so much stuff. Then let's take a look at the switch network port, the exchange network port. The switching network is this Net Engine 40E, one of his main routers. The component is responsible for data exchange between LPUs. Switching network port, he mainly has a CPU module. Switch module composition of monitoring. Module complete data exchange function. We have definitely exchanged this clearly. Definitely exchanged something. It's just data. So X16 is one of its switching modules. It is a backup of 3+1. X8 is a backup of 2+1. Among them, X8. He only has 2 switching network ports physically. It is integrated on the main control board. Then X3. He directly even connects the switching module. There are no switching network ports. None. Now let's take a look at how many indicators there are above. 1 to 5. Let's take a look at the first one. An indicated wrench. The second one is the act light. The third one is the run light. The fourth one is the OFL light. And then the last one is a button for OFL. Let's take a look at it now. This is a different exchange unit. Got it. In fact, if B talks to C feels about the same, just saying he used it on a different model, what can he only use P for X16? So regarding C, it can only be used on X8. These are some of the main differences. Let's take another look at the optional configurations. This centralized monitoring board, he didn't mean you have to have it when you buy it back. He is selected based on the customer's needs. Now let's take a look at one of its functions. So his main focus, he mainly provides a monitoring function. Its monitoring function is very rich. For example, I can perform smoke sensor alarm detection. In that case, it can support external smoke sensors through the panel, detecting an alarm signal from the chassis smoke sensor. This is the alarm detection of the smoke sensor. Subsequent ambient temperature. Connect an external temperature sensor via the panel, used to detect the temperature inside the chassis and the machine room. This is environmental temperature detection. Subsequent access control management regarding access control management. It is done by detecting the door, magnetic monitor the switch of access control, these situations, then manage the devices above the detection signal. At the same time, the CMU also reserved the function of remote unlocking. This way, it can be controlled remotely. Command the CMU to control the switch of our access control. This switch provide equipment alarm output. So the EPU can provide alarm output signals for bipolar devices. It can also provide dry node detection function. It can provide input for 6-way dry node detection. Signals used to monitor whether the external devices of this chassis are functioning properly. Provide one R32, R48, 5 serial port. Then CMU provides an R32 serial port all the way to the panel used to directly query me. Some of this thing. So another thing is, at the same time, the CM6 can also provide one RS485 serial port. The front panel is used to expand some R485 interface devices. Of course, it is a full duplex mode. In this case, it's actually about this module. Real-time monitoring of the system environment can be achieved access control management and other auxiliary functions. No need to go to the device for separate execution anymore. Having a monitoring board can help customers save on investment. Of course, this is optional. You can consider it if you need. Then let's take a look at the service interfaces and boards, again the NetEngine 40EX series router. It serves as interfaces provided by high-end routers for an all-service network. The types are very diverse. For example, we will be very familiar with it again. Ethernet interface, SOP interface, CPOS interface, and E1 interface, etc. Support for various business access. Single board type that provides various service interfaces. What does it mainly include? Let's go take a look. First is the flexible plug-in line processing board. This is what we call LPU. Then integrate the line processing board, LPUI. Then the line processing board, HCIA. Data Center Network Service Processing Board. Currently, this mainly includes general purpose service processing boards. HCIA Data Center Network. Business Processing Board, PSUF10, and General Business Processing Board, VSUI20A 3 models. This has also been presented on our PPT, the relationship between these interfaces and the single board. So everyone can also take a look at this. Take a look to understand. So here is a single board of LPU. So as we mentioned before, the type of a single board, including LPUF HCIA. Data Center Network 3 types of LPUs. So in fact, LPUF is a high specification flexible plug-in line card. Need to be matched with the corresponding interface port to provide service interfaces. Then LPUI and LPUs are medium-sized integrated line processing boards respectively. It is a line processing board that is lower in specifications. Integrated service interfaces on the board. So on this table, he just listed me as different, the board of this data. One type of interface on this board which devices are applicable for our NetEngine 40E. And this is actually the versions he started to support this table. So everyone can also go and take a look for reference. Next, we can take a look at this LPUF40. 40G flexible, pluggable single board. So let's take a look at this port. He reserved a queue of 512K support this BIOS enhanced QoS features of 1588 v2 enhancement suitable for various complex business acquisition scenarios. So this R3 version has added, this is the high density line card for 6 by 10 GE. High density line card, the 40 by 10 G electrical port. Furthermore, an enhanced HQS single board will also be provided. Let's take a look. He provided 2 subslots. 2 slots. It supports hot swapping. A single slot supports a maximum bandwidth of 40 G per second. So in fact, there are 2 types of it. One is the ABR. He supports all software features. However, B, there are some things that he cannot support. For example, this L3 VPN, then MVPN and IPv6 functions. This HCIA, data center network B, is not supported. So it can actually be upgraded through a license. Can have the same function as a mic A. So let me introduce this to everyone. LPDUF40R, 40G flexible plug-in single board. So below is one of its subcards. So in fact, there are many correspondingly. This daughter card has different. His description contains various functions. So the photo also corresponds to different entities. So let's not talk much about this, because these things are actually not necessary to talk too much about in need. Those who have needs can refer to the table to see the corresponding information. What kind do you need? So I won't say much about this side. Now let's take another look at this 100G. This is a flexible single port for card insertion. So the 100G series line card. It includes 2 types. One is of high specifications, this LPEUF100, and the medium-sized LPUI100. So LPUF100 is a flexible plug-in card. This is also 512K pairs. He can hold 10G flexible configuration of 10G, 100G QoS, 40G QoS. LPUI100 is the fixed Ethernet interface version. And his queue, it's only 256K, 256K6Q. Q is seen that meets medium requirements. A single board of 100G. This type can be provided including 10 by 10 G line speed, 10 by 10 G line speed, 16 by 10 G line speed, and a line speed of 96 by 1, then 8 by 10 G QoS. Single port 40G QoS. And the type of single port 100G. From the industry perspective, currently, the Net Engine 40E offers 100G. This board has the richest variety of interfaces. It's just one of his single boards. The interface density of this board is very high, completely meet the enterprise business scope requirements of our current business. So here is a point to note. When configuring the system with a 100G single board, this switch board needs to be upgraded to a 200G switch board. 200G switching fabric and the corresponding ACE are you cannot be used with the 40G switching network board, and that LPPUFA, LPBUFB, and then shared by the LPCUFA G board. Just a point to note, everyone, please take note, therefore. Moreover, the switching fabric with 200G only available for X8 and X16 models. So 100G line card can only be used in on top of my X8 and X16. This is also a pointer to note. So actually, this is this LPTF V600R003C00. This is a new development after this version. He provided 4 slots. FPIC mainly supports the following functions. Hot swap. Hot swap is supported. Configure automatic recovery. Mixing different daughter cards. This is a function that it can provide. Similarly, it has a subcard type. It's from this V6R3C0. Supported from this version onwards. This is a 3.5 slot card, half width card. So everyone can base on different. According to his 5 ports, 24 ports, 48 ports, then take a look at one of his supported different types of a port. This type of different ports, mainly to go, and then let's divide this instance a diagram again. According to the needs of everyone at that time, go take a look. This physical diagram, then let's take another look. LPUI100 is a basic line card at the grassroots level. So this board of LPUI100 grassroots line derived from LPUF100 simplification. So you can take a look here. The number of interfaces on one of his boards, there are 10 of these. Then it's 6 by 1. So he is based on different interfaces to complete the corresponding different access lines. Then let's take a look at the general purpose business processing board. This board of SPUC 3 operation modes, everyone can take a look. The first one is net stream, then tunnel network address translation. So the same piece, the net stream of this SPUC board. This net stream NAT function and tunnel. Then the MVPN function is mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive functions implemented by SPUC license is required. Support for GDL license. What I can achieve. The service board of SPUC is used to achieve NetStream GRE tunnel service network address translation anchor VPN. This one is processed without any physical interfaces, but it can be inserted into any LPU slot. So just now I mentioned his 3 working modes, right? When SPUC works in NetStream during this mode can achieve centralized NetStream mode. At the same time, this centralized NetStream license application is still required. Each SPUC board needs to apply for a license. If it is in tunnel mode, when the SPUC works in tunnel mode, he can achieve this centralized anchor VPN. If you want to enable the anchor on SPUC anchor VPN, configuration is still needed. The number of this SPUC is 1-to-1. This MVPN's license. So all the licenses need to be configured. If it is a tunnel, the SPUC board can achieve that. The centralized tunnel feature. Including this GRE tunnel and this server class, it's this tunnel of 6 to start on SPUCR. Tunnel feature configuration is required. License with a 1:1 ratio to the number of SPUCs. So, regarding net, if this board supports, the particles of this net are translated. So net license and SPUC, his single board is also configured on a 1-to-1 basis. So this is a place that everyone needs to pay attention. To next, let's take a look at one of the distinctive features of this router. So let's take a look. His distinctive feature is that one of his chips. Just compare and contrast this leading edge, high performance, excellent processing capability. Almost. This 30G backplane capacity. One of his ports, each port. One for each port. The capability is very strong, stable, secure and reliable network. So the main point is actually some reliable performance technologies. Definitely some sign language module, high performance enterprise secure interconnection. That is to say, his security aspect. Actually, it is done very well. Business permission perception and monitoring. Because he has very good management. One system for monitoring mature commercial. This IPv6 solution. Because I know now IPv4 address exhaustion. Now at this moment mature commercial, a solution for IPv6 he can also provide. Finally, it is for the customers. Design based on real needs. So that means based on the customer's actual needs to meet the needs of customers' business. So in fact, this is also one feature of one of his products. Last but not least, it is a unified an operation of VRP. This system platform, this is familiar to everyone who knows Huawei's CP products should all know. This is designed for the future. A new complete machine of 40G new whole machine. That is to say he is capable of providing 40G such a platform, then he is a green one. Because now green, this is something everyone is quite concerned about. Of particular interest internationally, there is a call for all IT move towards green and environmentally friendly practices. So we have actually discussed this before. Power supply design for the partition. So he has achieved it. Data center power supply, mode array can be transformed and there is a power consumption issue. Power consumption is very low compared to each design with one port compared to a device in the industry around 10% lower. Then we talk about cooling. As we mentioned before, that's his heat dissipation. As mentioned before, all are designed with a U-shaped design. In that case, one of his cooling efficiency is relatively high. Then it is not needed. When it comes to cooling, everyone knows what is actually heat dissipation. Via air conditioning. Don't even want to blow cold wind. If you have good heat dissipation definitely for air conditioning, use less energy consumption. In this way, you can also achieve a more environmentally friendly approach. And then the final compacted design saves space because he is always. Everyone can take a look when he was designing, it's still quite compact. Placed inside the chassis. So in conclusion, such a green platform unified network management, fully compatible with old version cards, old version card. So looking towards the future, expandable to protect user investments. So this is future oriented design. For example, his current design fully and thoroughly considered future customers, his business needs, business requirements. So actually, it's from one of his high performance, high capacity. It's a high density interface can be reflected. Then it's one of his rich ones, a guarantee of reliability for a technology. Actually, this is also Huawei. One of his technical skills, a sedimentation, everyone can take a look. What level of reliability can it achieve? 99.999%. That is how many decimal places to convert 5, approximately close to 1. It is close to 1, then the other main why is his reliability so good. Actually, all of its key components, all are easy to back up after you encounter a fault. It's okay, I will have backup to take over my upcoming project, in that case the reliability of my business. Definitely a significant improvement than in ISSU. ISSU is a non-disruptive upgrade with services that is achieved by preparation mode switch upgrade. Switch upgrade, ensuring the process of my upgrade. It will not affect my latest business. And then continuously. This router, this NSR, bidirectional forwarding mechanism. Bidirectional forwarding detection, BFD. BFD is used for fault detection. Continuously forward NSF. Then FRR quickly reroutes. Wait for some of these security technologies, ensure the technology for guarantee the reliability of my router. Then the IPv6 we mentioned earlier. Implementation of IPv6 technology, mainly on some basic protocols. Transition technology. Above the anchor QoS can achieve corresponding technologies. So in terms of this technology, if you are studying networking, should have a good understanding. I won't repeat much on this side. I can only say that this N1 router implementation of IPv6 technology, it also closely follows the latest trend in technology. Then there is also the full service carrying HQS. One of his QS is also quite good for this user. This good QoS can ensure the quality of my SLA service quality level. So business users, user group, class port, 5-level scheduling. In this case, such a sophisticated QoS, it ensures the operation of my business. Corresponding business to have a very good one, a resource acquisition. Then it is a high-speed secure interconnection, IPsec, which is about security. On the aspect of security, actually network element routers also put in a lot of effort. So let's take a look. One of his key performances, it's just a high performance, a 10-level speed limit, 20K, a 20K concurrent tunnel. It is dual machine hot standby, support load balancing between disk cards, supports across through net supports up to 8 modules in total worth $8. So this diagram, it's a large-scale enterprise headquarters branch, a scenario of the interconnection application of IPsec, one scenario of an application. If it's done through IPsec, through this VSUI20A, add this licenses, then this way can be realized. We are in IPsec. So in terms of IPsec, achieve high-speed interconnection, then we can go take a look again application. Scenarios of network element routers. So as I mentioned earlier, as mentioned before, network element router, it actually is what for? As a high-performance router, mainly at the edges of various large-scale IP networks. For example, the IP backbone network on our side, metropolitan area, network bearer network. Just like this, it is at all these critical points, key points. Now here we can take a look where, for example, the involvement of a large-scale analytics organization, key keynotes of NetEase, IPsec, outbound campus, network egress, branch disaggregation. In other words, it is in some high concurrency data scenarios. On top of this node, on the node, there is a corresponding data, a function of forwarding. At this point, this lesson will end here for now. So let's summarize what content have we learned in this chapter. First of all, we mainly studied this network element router, one of its main positioning, mainly in the core layer and convergence layer of our large-scale network. We all use network element routers and then network element router. It adopts this CLOS architecture. Then X3. What is the CLO's architecture? It's X8 and X16 regarding X3. It is a full mesh architecture with full interconnection. Then it introduces some of its SIM cards, main control board, switchboard, business board, etc. So the most important thing for us to know is what high performance features does the N1 router have? What are the distinctive features of the functions? So it's high performance, it has very high performance, including its capacity. One rate of the interface. Then there is also high reliability. Then there is HQoS. This is the hope that through these high data, these support point can be grasped. Then there is a demonstration here. Question 1. Select the following options. What are the types of boards supported by Net Engine 40EX16? This type of single board, does all of them support? Correct for all A, B, C, D. Then the second question, which one below? This is a type of main control board supported by Net Engine 40EX3. Choose option A for this question. So welcome everyone to watch this recommendation. Here is the NE20EX6 on this site. Introduction to one of its products. Introduction of the product. Mainly talk about regarding this NE20EX6. It is positioning an industry-wide area network and aggregation or the core router that includes the prefecture level cities we mentioned before. This electronic biological aggregation network. Metropolitan area network government intranet. Then this financial industry. Then central enterprises, etc. These municipal networks. So it actually provides these 4 FS slots. Mainly provides 2 LP BIOS slots for low speed cards. Supports a 20G board. Mainly introducing these so everyone can take a look. Can you take a look at the cost effectiveness of one of its products? I won't talk much about this. Let's simply get to know it. Thank you everyone.